One of our favourites, LJ, joining us in the studio this morning.
Morning, Damien.
Oh, I feel
Damien
special
Lee.
now.
You are so good to get up this early. How
Yeah,
do you
I know.
do it? Because you work nights.
With great difficulty. I don't go to sleep. See, I do the shows and everything at night, and then I think, okay, well, I've got to go and talk to Murray and LJ, so I'll just stay up and have a couple of coffees and,
Don't think we don't appreciate it.
that's why I'm wired now. Lack of sleep and too much coffee.
That's part of the early morning breakfast show, isn't it?
It certainly
the way It
is.
has to be. The new show at the Studio Theatre is Frank Sinatra, Once in My Life.
I know, because believe it or not, this year is a very special year. It's 100 years since Frank Sinatra was born. So he was born back in 1915 in a small little place called Hoboken in New Jersey.
Yes.
Home of the Cake Boss now.
That's right.
you
Yes,
go.
yes, my wife loves that show.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
right.
Cake Boss.
So, Frank Sinatra was born to Italian immigrants and really got his first inkling that he wanted to sing because he was a bit of a fan of Bing Crosby and people like that.
Right.
And so he thought, well, I'm going to give this a go, and eventually got a contract after he, did glee clubs in college and all that sort of thing. Got a contract with one of the top orchestras at the time, Harry James.
Right.
And of course was there for a little while before Tommy Dorsey then went, hey, this kid's pretty good.
Yeah.
I might take him on board, and so he went with the Dorsey Orchestra, which was the top band at the time in America.
He certainly had some dodgy friends over the years, didn't he?
Well, yeah, and I mean, look, that's what makes his life so interesting.
Oh, that's for sure.
It's like a Hollywood blockbuster. I mean, you've got kidnappings, suicide attempts, you've got the mafia connections, you've got, the Playboy image, the Rat Pack,
Yes.
It makes such a great story. And that's what we've done. We've actually researched his entire life from birth to death and basically put it all up there on a narrated, video. Which tells the story of Frank Sinatra, and then integrated into that is live performance of 20 of his greatest hits.
Right.
So that's how we've sort of formulated the show. And so you've got, interesting, there goes my voice at this time of the morning.
I was going to say, are you singing some of the hits?
I could be, yes.
Which
Yeah.
ones do you sing?
I'm not telling you. You have to come and see the show.
You'd have to be pretty darn good, though, to belt out a Frank
Frankie?
Sinatra song.
Well, look, look, no one can ever be Sinatra. I mean, that's why he was so unique. I mean, he had a great crooner style, a very laid-back
It
style
was
in a
his
way.
phrasing too,
That's
wasn't
it.
it?
Yeah, he never sang a song straight.
No.
He put his own little embellishments on it.
Whirled
and-
it round.
Yeah, that's
broke
it.
it up.
Yeah, and so you can attempt to do some of that, but you're never going to do the complete package. And so, therefore, we're paying tribute to him rather than trying to impersonate him.
Sure.
And I think that works so much better when you're telling his life story. I mean, there's great video from the Rat Pack actually performing live in Las Vegas. And a very young Johnny Carson is the MC.
Oh, really?
Which is just amazing. We've got interviews with Nancy Sinatra talking about life at home with Frank,
That would have been interesting.
which is very interesting. We're seeing old newsreel clips of his movie launches and premieres, and also, of course, the documentation of all of his marriages. I mean, he had 4.
Oh, okay.
He was
I
a
lost
busy
track.
boy.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and of course, finally marrying Barbara Marx, who was actually related to one of the Marx brothers.
Okay.
So that's how that happened, and of course he was with her until he passed away. So she was the only one that he never divorced. Mia Farrow was another one. I think
right, of course.
she was wife number 3. She actually met him on the lot of 20th Century Fox, because she was doing Peyton Place. At the time, and he was doing Von Ryan's Express, the movie.
Okay.
And their sound studios were side by side.
Right.
And so, of course, during lunch breaks, whatever you do,
One thing.
led to another. And he was 50 at the time.
And she was what, 18?
19, something like that.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and that only lasted a couple of years. And then, of course, he served the divorce papers to her on the set in front of the cast and crew of Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, okay.
So, everyone knew that they got the divorce papers.
He was
through
an
anyway.
interesting character, wasn't he?
He was a very interesting character,
How did he not marry Elizabeth Taylor?
Well, look, there's so many things. I mean, when you look at it, his whirlwind. He went there in the whole Hollywood vein. He went there with Ava Gardner,
Right.
and married her, and left his first wife Nancy, which they had 3 children together as well. So, But I mean, even when you listen to Nancy Jr. talking about it, you know, she adored Ava Gardner, so the whole family went along with the whole thing, you know. So it's quite an amazing feat, you know. I mean, he had that bad boy image. I mean,
Yes.
but the only brush with the law was actually in 1938. There's an infamous on the internet mugshot of him with his, you know, numbers down on the plaque in
okay.
front, and that was actually because of adultery. He got done for adultery.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, so there was no
Just that one time.
that one little indiscretion, yes. And like when he was first, I mean, a lot of Hollywood was fabricated, and so was the music industry at the time, you know. And Sinatra's first publicist, George Evans, when he was doing 8 shows a day, which was just an enormous
My
amount of work.
goodness.
8 shows a day Frank Sinatra was doing in New York. And what his publicist would do would actually audition young girls who were bobby socksers at the time with the roll down socks.
Right.
He would audition the ones that could scream the loudest. Pay them $5 to go and sit there in amongst the shows and just scream so that it hyped up the show. And that's how it happened.
You hear all sorts of interesting stories, and you don't know whether they're all true. I remember hearing one story of when he was recording at Capitol Records, the Brown Building in Hollywood,
Yep.
that he had nobody. He wanted nobody apart from the engineer and essential crew for the recording. Everybody else in the building had to go.
There's so many rumours about him. And I mean, you know, more so too with the whole mafia connection.
Oh, sure, yes.
You know, I mean, that's been one of the things that's really dogged his life.
Of course.
And, you know, I mean, there was rumours that he was, you know, associated with Carlo Gambino and Lucky Luciano and all those guys. I mean, you know, and what great names they are.
That's right.
And, of course, the FBI had him under surveillance for some 4 decades.
Right.
You know, they had over 2,000 pages on him.
Is that right?
You know, because J. Edgar Hoover, who was in charge of the FBI at the time, really thought that Sinatra had communist overtones and all of this sort of thing. And, of course, it even went to a Senate hearing and everything where, you know, it was believed that, you know, corruption and communist overtones were rife in the entertainment industry. You know?
I suppose it's a good rumour to have around because nobody would diddle you.
Well,
What do you
Just in
mean?
case.
What, because of his mafia? Not a communist, but definitely mafia.
Mafia, that's what I mean.
connections.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of Frank Sinatra just in case.
Just in case.
that's right. You could be swimming.
that idea.
You could be swimming with the fishes.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. But I mean, look, you know, it's really quite funny when you look into it. And I mean, he had his tough times as well. I mean, you know, back in the early 50s, his career was starting to fail, and he actually attempted suicide by sticking his head in an oven. You know, and all of this sort of stuff. And he attempted suicide a couple of more times as well, especially when his marriage to Ava Gardner started to fall over as well. Wow. So all of this is documented, and in fact, of course, then we know about the punch-ups that he used to have with the media and press, and
Right.
even when he came to Australia
Yeah.
for the ultimate event,
Of course.
remember at Sanctuary Cove.
Didn't he
Yes.
offend some woman?
Yeah. Oh, look, you know, it
Lots
was
of
all
times.
over.
Which time?
Yeah. No, I mean a female journalist.
That was the
Yeah.
previous time, though.
Previous time.
Oh, was it?
But I mean, you know, everyone was so scared to even remotely cover the event in case Frank Sinatra came out
Damien,
swinging.
it sounds like you've had a lot of fun putting it together.
It's enormously fun because, you know, looking into the life of these people, you know, and when you start looking at, you know, the ins and outs, you know, it just really is quite amazing. And the unbelievable ride they went on. And that's what we've tried to recreate on video, you know, with all the interviews from his families and friends. And we even cover, you know, his, you know, the funeral and all that sort of thing with Debbie Reynolds and people like that. And of course, the Rat Pack, which, you know, was one of the highlights for me because they were just 4 guys or 5 guys initially having so much fun on stage.
Yes.
And they just ripped it up every
That is
time.
one show that I would have loved to have seen in Las Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the world premiere of Frank Sinatra Once in My Life. It's at the Studio Theatre, which is located where?
At 647 Wynnum Road, Morningside.
And the show's on now?
It's now playing and will go through until middle of May. So about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks it'll be playing.
Okay.
But it's an intimate space. There's only 50 seats, so people
Nice.
need to get in nice and early and book their tickets so that they don't miss out because we put so much time and effort into it, and we're really proud that this is a true account and a great showcase of the life and times of the chairman of the board.
And how do we book?
Simply get on the phone, 3399 3333, or you can book online 24/7, and that's studiotheatre.com.au.
Damien Lee, it is always a pleasure. You go home and have some sleep.
I shall, and thank you for the coffee, LJ. It was brilliant.